All right, howdy there, fellow Shadowers. Welcome to a solo shuffle series I'm going to do. I'm just going to give tips based on certain mechanics of the game, and we're going to start with the opener. So this is episode 1, solo shuffle tips. We're going to start with getting damage off in the opener. When it comes down to it, in this game, Arena is very damage focused. If you're not doing enough damage, you're going to lose, and Shadow Priest actually can do really good damage, but it does take a little bit of effort, a little bit of fake casting, a little bit of strategy. And I'm going to give you a few tips to just go ahead and get your DPS rotation off. So if you're a beginner or you're new to Shadow Priest or you haven't played in a couple expansions and you're like, what the hell am I looking at? I'm going to give you some good tips. I'll put my talents in the description as well. For the record, I've played multiple builds and they all seem to do kind of the same damage, and your DPS rotation is going to be the same pretty much either way unless you're playing Void Weaver, which I don't often play. So starting off, before we even watch the gameplay, I'm just going to have this little notepad running, and we're going to put, what is a DPS priority for us, right? We want to apply dots to all 3 targets. And there's a couple ways to do this. The first thing I recommend doing is while you're far enough away, so generally, like if we start the game, right, we're gonna like dismount right here, and people are gonna be mounting in at us. And say if it's like a DK or a dragon, obviously the DK can grip me, but I have this talent in the bottom left of the priest tree, or actually the bottom right of the left side of the priest tree here. I've had my talents open to be like over there. And it basically increases the range of all your spells, which means I can cast VT before he can grip me. So ideally, in a perfect world, I will run out into the middle of the arena and I'll dismount, and I'm just going to be spamming my VT key so I can cast a VT onto the DK and then quickly unfurling darkness the off DPS, and then I'll often shadow crush the healer. Now I always do this because most times the healer is line of sighting me and it's hard to get that first VT on him. So you can do it in any way you want. You can VT target, VT the healer, then dot 1 in the shadow crash. And then one other tip I will say, since I'm playing in my build Shadow Crash and all the apparition talents, your apparitions will give you insanity. So sometimes it is better optimally to Shadow Crash the DK because he's going to have a bunch of pets, and I'll generate insanity from those. So those are just a few little tips. So we'll put that here on our little list. Apply dots to all 3 targets. VT main target, unfurling on off, Shadow Crash on main. Try to cast out of range of interrupt. So we mostly want to deal with, and rather than trying to juke every interrupt, just when can we find windows to cast, when can we get our damage off. And I doubt that that is going to be the case this game. I'm pretty sure, you know, things always go wrong. That's just PvP, man. That's just life. Like, it's never going to be picture perfect, but you can adjust. Like here, you can see I'm trying to get those VTs out. I'm spamming it, but he does grip me, so that's kind of a bummer. Immediately I will feather, fade, and try to get some distance. I did shoot out my Shadow Crash, which of course gets AMS, so now I'm in the unfortunate position where I have dots on only the pets. I have no dots on the players, so immediately, like, I still have my distance here, right? Like, look how, just with that fade and feather combo, I'm able to get out of Mind Freeze range. Watch me get kicked here, but I feel like I'm far enough away. So I'm just going to target the dragon and get dots on him. I can't dot the DK yet because he still has shell, so let's see what I do. Get the dots out on the Dargon, and then I immediately switch my dots to the healer without unfurling darkness. And now I still have 4 seconds before I can dot the DK, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is try to get a halo off while I'm out of range of kicks. Unfortunately, I'm getting Dargon breathed. I could have melded this, so definitely a couple of misplays here by me. And I even trinket this micro CC, which is terrible because it was about to end. But either way, now I have dots on 2 targets, so I get the halo off, and then I cast my Void Eruption. Now, I'll just go back a second just so we can rewatch this. There's some debate as to whether you should halo before void forming. I think that it is better. Yeah, but I think it's better to halo first and then void form. I did it the other way around this game. One reason why I think it's better to halo instead of void form first is because it's just harder to get off, and I think more people want to stop halo. So if you have the opportunity to get halo off, like, that's going to deal so much damage by itself. So I feel like getting that out ahead of time just ensures that you're getting some damage rolling, and you're going to start pulling those Mind Flay procs, and then you can get your Void Form when you can, and then using that Void Form buff to combo your Mind Flays is awesome. I think in PvE they also do it this way, so that's just a couple of reasons why. Now I'm in the unfortunate position where I still need to get dots back on this DK. Luckily, I could see he's kind of swapping off of me, so I know that I'm not going to get kicked. Evoker actually misses his kick here, and now we can get into our ideal opener. So we have dots on all 3 targets, which is part of our thing, right? So that took me a little bit of time, right? We're now like 30 seconds into this game. Apply dots to all 3 targets, blah, blah, blah. You saw how I did that. It didn't go perfect to the DK AMS. My Shadow Crash. PI plus Halo plus Void Form for maximum damage. Now, PI is really weird because it only lasts for like 13 seconds now, I think. And I think ideally you're like slinging out a bunch of Mind Flay Insanities with your PI. However, I'm just mostly using PI just to get these casts off because there's so much micro CC in Arena, and if we can actually get some pressure rolling, we're gonna have a lot of fun. Notice when I saw the DK swap off of me, I immediately adjust my positioning, so now I'm all the way over here. Like, I know that they're not on me, but if he wants to swap to me, he's either gonna have to use grip on me or just waddle back into my range. And we'll just take a look at that rotation. So I'm pulling those Mind Flays with my Halo. We're gonna Devouring Plague off cooldown. DP off CD when available. This is going to help you stack Mind Flays. It's also going to just increase your overall damage because you have your benefits from your mastery. And then just channeling as many Mind Flays as I can into the targets that take the most amount of damage. So fortunately the DK has IBF up. I think the Evoker walled, so everyone's taking reduced damage. You could make an argument that I should be hitting the healer, but they're all kind of rotting, so I'm just going to focus my damage on the Evoker now that his wall is over. You can see Shadow Word Death is lighting up all pretty, but honestly every other spell we have deals more damage. One thing maybe I'm not super certain about in this build is when should you Void Bolt. I think that you should Void Bolt if DP is unavailable. If no Mind Flay Insanity procs, and yeah, I think that's I think that's fine. And then we Mind Blast. Mind Blast if you can't Void Bolt. We'll do it in this order. DP Void Bolt. Or Void Bolt. So that looks good. That's like a good rule of thumb. You want to prioritize that DP, Mind Flay Insanity. Even if you have Mind Flays, you always use your DP because one, it's going to extend your Void Form, and then two, you're just yeah, like you're doing more damage, and you want to make sure you're not capping on Insanity as well. So Mind Blast is kind of my filler spell. Yeah, regular Shadow Word Death, dude, I don't know. They just, Shadow Word Death sucks. Let's just put that. Shadow Word Death sucks. Don't really use that button unless you have like literally nothing to use and you think you'll get kicked on. Even a regular Mind Flay is better than Shadow Word Death. You can see I'm actually purging to generate Insanity. Purge to generate Insanity when Mind Blast is on CD. Yeah, cool. You can see I'm doing pretty good damage here. Honestly, not the ideal opener, but we're definitely parsing on them. And anytime you're out damaging a DK in Arena, it's a good sign because DKs are so freaking strong right now. But just, even though I'm not the target, notice how I'm just using distance to my advantage. I'm really trying to stay out of the fight. I have a pillar if need be, and then the DK grips me. I don't know why I'm standing in this zone. I accidentally target the pet because my mouse is broken, so ignore that. Trying to purge the shrouds off the healer, and I realize it's kind of a futile endeavor. Taking some damage. Definitely important to know when you should disperse. So here I try to greed with Desperate Prayer, Fade, and some heals. I see a paints up, so I cancel my disperse. Now my second Halo of the game. This is where your pressure should go absolutely nuclear. I know that I said that you should be dotting all three before you get your Halo off, and that is generally great for the opener, but in this situation here, I know that the healer CC'd and he won't be able to kick this Halo, so I go ahead and get the Halo off, and then I make sure to get my dots up immediately after with VT, Unfurling, and Shadow Crash. So even though I Haloed before I had dots on anyone, I very quickly triple dotted, and this is important because you're going to get all that value of Psychic Link once you are Mind Flaying. So that was one just example on a good opener for damage dealing, and we can watch it back in full time and just give a little short recap and see, you know, what goes right, what goes wrong. Ideally, I don't get gripped in this opener, but I'm dismounting, I'm dotting, even using the pillar a little bit to maybe push him in. That grip range seems insane though. Maybe I'm wrong that I can cast before he can grip me because that was really, really fast. quickly get the dots out. I could have silenced the Sleepwalk. Void Eruption, Halo, I kind of did this backwards. Like I said, this is not a perfect game by any means. And if you are in the midst of a bunch of interrupts, just throw out a Flash Heal. You'll get that 10% damage debuff. If they kick it, then awesome, you can start casting. Spamming those Mind Flays off cooldown, keeping dots up. Mind Flay, Mind Flay, Mind Flay. I'm playing Psyfiend as well, so I'm not playing Mind Trauma, but I think Mind Trauma is really good too. One thing I did poorly this game is my CC, so generally I'm going to incorporate my stun and my silence back to back. Here, I put the healer on focus, and I get a silence on him while we have some good damage rolling. And since I'm casting, I don't use my stun to follow this up. This easily would have been the healer's trinket or another major defensive cooldown, so just kind of a bad sequential opener for me, not getting used to the Shadow Crash in the beginning and then also not following up that stun and that silence. And we'll do a whole another video on CC usage and combining that with your burst, but this is, you know, just to point out there are plenty of mistakes being made, but as long as you can kind of do the bare minimum and do an average rotation, you're going to have more wins than losses in Solo Shuffle. Shadow Priest is actually very strong in Shuffle, I believe. So keeping up the filler spells, purging for insanity, and then every time I have that DP, boom. Maybe even like having a more glaring weak aura or something will help people that aren't using their insanity properly. No dots. I'm trying to fake Mind Freeze, Desperate Prayer, Flash Shield for that damage debuff. Look, they kick Flash Shield and miss kick on Flash Shield, so just able to get interrupts with Holy Tree makes it a whole lot easier, and then even if you don't get kicked, you have that 10% damage debuff. So boom, we win in the second Halo. Have a Psyfiend ready as well if needed. GG. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is a quick video. Hope you enjoyed it, and let's keep PvPing. Let me know what you want to see next. I'll probably do the CC version next, so have fun.